Philadelphia artist Balmour just released his sophomore album titled Double HP. We spoke with him about the unique concept behind the album, what helped push him to release a project during the pandemic, and why he feels that Philadelphia's soul music scene is experiencing a renaissance. In you, 'cause you're the one I choose. So you just dropped your first full-length project, right? Called Double HP, and it's like a mixtape. It's a whole concept behind it. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, and there's a lot of moving pieces with it, but basically Double HP is my largest body of work to date. I'm going to call it my sophomore effort. We dropped Unplugged 4 years ago, but it didn't contain nearly as much tracks. But Double HP is basically, we're working as like a live service mixtape. Where basically we're gonna drop like DLC packs in the same way like a live service video game would be, and hopefully we hope to curate that for the next couple years, man. Hopefully if people are still into it, but it's 15 tracks, 4 interlude, 11 full-length tracks, and I like to think it's a new experience every time you listen to it. I'm an avid video game guy, so the aesthetic of Double HP was kind of like intuitive. I definitely knew I wanted to go deeper into like a tech focused area. My first tape was Unplugged. Double HP is another kind of like, tech type of theme.
Balmour had released the singles A Lion and Baggage ahead of the release of his sophomore project Double HP. Like many artists, he struggled to complete and release music during the pandemic. Fortunately, receiving recognition from one of his favorite artists really gave him the push he needed to finally complete the album.
I think the end of 2019. And we dropped Baggage, and that following summer, one of my favorite local artists, Chill Moody, man, who I've been looking up for years, had posted Baggage on his story, and I'm like, yo, he's listening to my music, man. That's crazy, and it just kind of gave me, I think, the fire I needed to push through the pandemic and drop this whole body of work, which I'm really, really proud of. With Double HP basically saying like the message boils down to hurt people, right? And that's what it actually means, Double HP.
Oh, wow. I did not realize that until you said Double HP, and I was like,
right. Because I want to go into it and let, with no intention, kind of getting into that video game gimmick and buying into it and start to realize over the course of 15 tracks, like, no, we're talking about something here.
Yeah.
But no, that's the imagery, and then Double HP is hurt people, and then the interludes kind of tell a story in between the tracks, and the tracks tell stories within themselves. So hopefully over the course of 40 minutes, people can start to recognize their own vices and the things they allow from other people that takes place, which might not be acceptable. And the tagline that we talk about in every discussion about this tape, me and my team, is if you listen to the music and you feel like validated by the things you're hearing, you have some healing to do. And if you listen to the tape and you feel triggered by what you're listening to, you have some healing to do as well.
When you knew that you wanted to do a solo album, was this the concept that you had, or did it kind of just develop over time with situations and things that you wanted to write about?
Okay. I didn't know what story I would tell.
Okay.
I knew, like, all my music is about relationships, and not like you said, it's not just like the cheating or like the I love you songs or like the sexual record. It's more like sometimes people are just annoying.
Right. Sometimes people have baggage. Sometimes.
Right. But then also, like, sometimes I'm not being a good person, and that ended up being a story, like a cautionary tale I ended up forming with Double HP, but it was definitely like the story of my 2020/2021. I consolidated into like a body of work that I think people would sit down for.
Do you think that's important in songwriting, particularly within R&B music as a male artist, to talk about those parts where it's like, not only have I been wrong, but I've been wrong? Like, do you think that's important to have that perspective and to share that in songwriting?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's important for just first to be like truthful about what it is.
And
Like,
be self-aware in general, right?
yeah, just being truthful and intentional about what it is that you're making.
Mm-hmm.
And your storytelling, it doesn't have to fall into those three categories. It doesn't have to fall into a love song or a hate song. Right? It doesn't have to be like that. Like, and I hope to, as I write, to kind of open the door for people's thinking.
Yeah. Can you just kind of talk to us about how it is to be creating in Philadelphia right now?
Yeah. Right now, so I think that's a great question. Philly is going through what I feel like to be a small renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
Their artists carry a lot of angst in this city historically, because it always feels like we're knocking on a door. And I feel like these past 2 or 3 years, even through the pandemic, I'm watching artists have doors open to them. I'm witnessing like this sense of camaraderie that I've never felt before. And it's like newer guard of Philly musicians just really being competitive in a healthy way with their peers and in their craft. So I'm looking at Bea, I'm looking at Hollywood Kane, I'm looking at Chemist, I'm looking at Kingsley, I'm looking at Jasmine Castle, I'm looking at all these artists, and I'm gonna kind of include like South Jersey as well, because we're forming this kind of like symbiotic relationship with each other, and it just feels really healthy, and it feels really intuitive, and it feels really organic. And I know just with the level of intent that these artists are pouring into their most recent releases, that years from now, people are going to look back at 2022, 2023 and say, wow, like we got to really get up close and personal with these people, and it means something.
What's next for Balmour? It's very early, I know, for this project. It just came out. So what are your other plans?
Listen, so what we hope to do is, and this is something that's already in the works, is to continue to curate this live EP experience in the same way that video game developers will curate or reiterate or whatever a game over the course of a couple years. So we have DLC, which is like, if you play games, it's called short for, I'm sorry, downloadable content.
Okay.
So we hope to extend like the shelf life of this game over the course of a few months or years, or however long people buy into the tape. So those tracks are finished. We have some visuals shot out by Dev Rose at Noir Films and Daryl Gatewood at Knock on Wood Productions, the same guys who shot the Align visual, and I'm so grateful for them. We have a couple videos coming, and they're all kind of they're just really cool. And then then we got some performances coming up.
I'm Toya Haynes for PhillyCAM Voices.
But she just not that mood. It's something I can't find.